Thank you. All right, hey everyone. We're back live on Facebook, and as you can see, I do have a guest with me, and I'm going to go ahead and do a quick introduction. This is John Juarez. He's my training partner. He's the one that I do my self-defense workshops with, and I guess I can let you talk about yourself first, or you want me to?
Hi guys, I'm John Juarez. I'm the owner of Riptide Mixed Martial Arts here in Bluffton. There's a little background about me. I've been doing martial arts since I was probably 10. I've had this mixed martial arts gym for probably about 8 years now in Hilton Head, Bluffton area. Same as Amy, I've been in the Marine Corps for 12 years. Got out and started training mixed martial arts. I'm also a Krav Maga force instructor. Like Amy was saying, we did a pretty good class a couple weeks ago about self-defense, mothers and daughters self-defense. We did self-defense one day and some shooting the next day.
Yeah. So John's an awesome guy, obviously, and he's someone that, you know, him and I have the kind of same outlook on self-defense and why it's so important. So the reason I wanted to talk about self-defense tonight is about 2 weeks ago, or no, 2 to 3 weeks ago, I came on Facebook and I was just getting back from Chicago, where I was telling you guys some stories that I had heard from friends of friends who had found themselves in incidents where they were attacked, and they were, they survived, but they were violently attacked. And it made me think about being in Chicago and not being able to carry, because Illinois is a state that does not recognize any of the concealed weapons permits that I have. So it put me in a very vulnerable position. As someone that carries pretty much on a daily basis, it's part of my lifestyle. I don't look at, well, since Illinois doesn't recognize my permit, you know, I'm not the type of person that is not going to go to someplace just because I can't carry there. There are a lot of other things that you can do for self-defense, and I want to say in the past year or so, I've really taken an interest in kind of, getting better at some of those things, like using knives or martial arts tactics and using self-defense spray. So it got me thinking that, you know, when it comes to being someone who is promoting self-defense, I have to think about other means other than firearms. Also, where children are concerned, because right around that same time, we had just finished the mother-daughter self-defense workshop, and we had a bunch of young children in the class who obviously cannot carry a firearm, and then we also had a lot of mothers that were first-time shooters in that class. And so, you know, we talked to them about subjects, situational awareness, self-defense, other means for self-defense, and specifically I asked John if he would be in my live feed tonight, because he's a father, and he's a father of 3 children, 2 sons, 1 daughter, and so I thought that he could give us a unique perspective in how to talk to your children about living in a world where violence happens, and also talking to your children about firearm safety and getting them interested in things like martial arts. Although it's a good recreational activity, it's also something that they can use as a tool if they ever had to use it for self-defense in the future. So anyway, I'm going to pull up another device so we can kind of look at comments as they're coming in. So if you guys have any questions about any of this stuff, please just leave a comment and we'll answer them as we read them. But let's talk about, let's talk about children and safety first. So can you give us, John, just, you know, what happened or how you brought that into the conversation with your children? What age were they? What did you talk to them about? Things like that.
Well, I think when it goes to children, I know that every child's different, so I think it's got to be case-by-case basis to your children. Naturally, some children are a little bit more open to things, or a little bit more, more responsible at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's very important to be honest with your kids and let them know the good and the bad of the world, or what could happen in different kind of situations. I started, my youngest son when he was 3 years old training in mixed martial arts.
Oh, wow, 3 years old.
Yeah, so,
okay.
And my daughter, she was pretty young, and to the day, she's 16 now, I think it's very important. I'm always open and honest with them. I think that's a huge thing about your kids. You got to be honest.
Yeah.
You got to show them the good, the bad, the ugly about self-defense.
Yeah.
I think it's the kids that are sheltered too much, maybe.
Yeah.
Can not see the reality of stuff that can really happen out there. So I think it's very important to sit them down, talk to them, and like I said, I think martial arts. Honestly, I think any martial arts is good for kids. Everybody always says this martial arts is better than this one. I think any martial arts is always good because every martial arts has something good to teach.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
We had, one of the things we were talking about before we went live was in the last self-defense workshop we did, we actually had I think the youngest, was she the youngest, the 9-year-old?
Like 9, yeah.
There was a 9-year-old girl that was the youngest in the group. And one of the things that, I did before we actually started was I got all the mothers in one room and I told them that, we're going to talk about subjects like rape, people attacking you, things like that. And I asked them, if that would be okay with them. And everyone there said, yes, we want our daughters to know how to defend themselves against these things because unfortunately, we can't control what other people are going to do. And in the world we live in today, there are evil, violent people there, and we see that. We see that in the news. We see that in articles we read. I hear that from friends who have been attacked. And it's one of the things I mentioned in my class this morning that I taught was while we can't control what happens around us, what we can control is our capability to react to violence, to keep us safe. And that includes keeping our children safe as well. I know there's a lot of parents out there who may not know how to talk to their young children about violence and how to defend themselves against it. But I think it's important that you don't shelter them.
Right,
yeah,
definitely.
I know when I was, if my sister's watching, she'll know this, but when I was, I think we were 10 and 11 years old, my father actually had my sister and I take a martial arts class to learn self-defense tactics. And honestly, that was a long time ago, but I still remember some of those tactics to this day, and I remember taking that class. It was just a one-time thing, but it gave me a lot of confidence, and it kind of helped me get set up for being in a safe mindset as well.
I think a big important thing too is if you're going to get your kids into kind of a martial arts for self-defense, it's very important that when you check out the facility or the gym that you may go to, is how realistic are the movements and are the techniques. I think it's big. It's important to have simple, fast techniques, especially for self-defense. I think some places maybe have too much flashy stuff. It always looks good maybe on TV, but in real life it doesn't work.
Yeah, that's the same with firearms training too.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the same exact thing.
Curving the bullet and stuff. So I think it's very important when you look for a facility to maybe take your kids to or training, that you talk to the instructor or actually watch the kids and watch their kids train to see how good they are. But it's important to actually, I think my honest opinion, I think martial arts is good for every kid to do. Not only for the discipline and all that stuff, it helps them. It helps with confidence, and that's a big thing in self-defense. Is if I'm walking on the street with my head down, not paying attention, or I look like an easy target, the guy's gonna pick you as an easy target. So if you have the more confidence you are in your body, you're gonna walk taller, act taller. So and you're gonna portray a different kind of energy than somebody that doesn't have the same kind of confidence.
Right. That's some of the things that we were talking
important.
about. We were talking about to the children and the young women especially. We were talking to them about are you a hard target or are you a soft target? And one of the things that we mentioned was, okay, the difference being if I'm, I'm 4'11", 110 pounds, whatever. I'm walking in the parking lot. It's late at night, and I've got my head down in my phone, not paying attention to my surroundings. If there is someone in the area who is looking for someone to attack, seeing someone like me not paying attention, they probably choose me to be a victim. And where I can kind of flip that script is if I choose to be a hard target, meaning I want to make sure that as I'm walking, I have a posture of I'm paying attention, so I'm looking around. Maybe I have my keys in my hand, ready to go if I'm getting in my car. I'm not on my phone. I'm aware of what's going on, and I just have a sense of purpose to how I'm walking. So maybe someone that sees someone walking in that manner versus the other way I described, you know, they're going to choose the person who they think is going to be easier to attack versus the one who may put up a fight. Would you agree?
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
You got to portray yourself as, you know, like she said, like, as a hard target. You know, and I also think that goes along. We talked about also in the class is letting your kids know it's okay to offend somebody. When I teach them,
that's right.
When I teach them our self-defense classes, you know, it's okay to tell somebody to stop and get away from you, and who cares if it hurts their feelings? You know, maybe they call you a name and they leave. Big deal. They stopped and they're, you know, they left you alone, or maybe they're just asking for directions. But you don't know that.
Right.
So I think a big thing too is talking to your kids or your spouse or whatever is don't worry about offending somebody and hurting their feelings, because I think today's world everyone's like, oh, let's don't hurt their feelings.
Right.
But in reality, it could put you in a bad situation.
Now, how do you when you talk to your children about violence, I mean, how did that conversation go, and how is their attitude toward it when you may be describing situations that would be uncomfortable?
Well, there's a couple different ways. I do know as a parent, your kids don't really want to listen to the mother and father. They're like, yeah, whatever, Dad. But so you really got to sit them down and talk to them and show them the reality of people do get kidnapped. You know, I do tell them, if you get in a car with somebody, if they put you in a car, this is probably what's going to happen to you. A, B, or C. You are probably going to end up dead. I mean, and that's what you got to be with kids. I think you got to be real about it, because you can't sugarcoat it. You know, and also I think that's something too that, you know, maybe, you know, a lot of people bring their kids to me to teach them different stuff.
Right.
And sometimes it's a little bit different coming from somebody
another
else.
adult.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think when you talk to your kids, you have to be very open about stuff. Tell them, like I said, the good, the bad, the ugly about everything. Because if you don't, then they're not going to be, you know, I mean, they haven't been there yet.
Right.
I always say, do a big thing about visualization, just like in shooting.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, same concept. You know, if somebody attacks you, what are you gonna do? Okay, he did this. He grabbed you here, or what are you gonna do? I think that's important.
Yeah.
You know, but I also think just being honest with them is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, because, you know, show them stuff. Don't be afraid to show them. You know, this happened to them, you know, in a situation. Because I think it's just, I think it's the people, just like in some firearm safety, the kids that don't get taught how to deal with a weapon, or what are you going to do when you see a weapon. Or I went to a friend's house and they pulled out a gun. What do? Get away from the gun.
Right.
You know, the same thing in self-defense. If you don't teach your kids self-defense,
or what to do,
yeah,
then they're going to freeze.
Exactly.
They're not going to know what to do.
I think it's very important.
Yeah.
You know, just like you said, you remember when you were 11 years old. The simple, basic techniques that will work.
Let's talk about firearms next, because you brought up firearms. That's something that is a little bit different from state to state depending on where you're from. Now, here in South Carolina, where we're at, there's no age limit as far as if you as a parent wanted to bring your child to the range and use a firearm. Of course, you always want 100% supervision when they are handling any firearms, just for safety, of course. But there are some states that mandate what age a minor has to be in order to go to the range and use a firearm recreationally, which I think is unfortunate, because I know I've seen plenty of young children, you know, young ages, being able to handle a firearm competently and safely. But at a minimum, what you should be doing is teaching your children that if they do come across a firearm, whether it's in your home or a friend's house, if it's not secured properly, they need to stop, don't touch it, leave the area, and go find an adult. But what age did you start talking to your children about safety?
Oh, really young.
Really young?
Yeah. I think I'm one of those dads that, you know, especially my younger son, he's been brought up around guns.
Okay.
So probably, God, I can't even really remember, maybe 4.
4,
you know,
okay.
But not like I took him shooting.
Right, but you talked to them about
I showed
it, right?
them. I showed them reality of a gun. I show them. I let them hold it, teach it, and it's a step-by-step process. You know, just like any kind of shooting or self-defense. It's always that step-by-step process of reiterating this is guns, what guns can do, and show them, what to do with the gun. And to the day, I have my guns. I mean, just like you, I carry all the time, and my guns are always loaded.
Right.
But I always reiterate whenever I leave, son, my gun's right here, it's loaded, or son, there's a gun in the truck and it's loaded. I always say that all the time, just to reiterate it all the time.
We've actually seen, and I'm sure you've seen, the news, same news, where there are children that may be home by themselves. And these the ones that I've read about are usually young teenagers, but something's happened when the child has been in the home by themselves, and they actually knew how to use the firearm, and they acted in defense. And I can't think about what would have happened if they didn't know how to use the gun, or what if they didn't have one. So it's always a hard reality that we face, that unfortunately you never know what's going to happen. But I think it's important for children to know what to do in a situation like that. Case by case basis, as far as the age is concerned as well.
Correct. You know your children, but don't sugarcoat things too when you talk to them about it. I think they got to know the reality of stuff. It's important.
Yeah, you're right.
You have to, but I think people that try to sugarcoat it and shelter their kids too much, I think it's not safe for their kids, because we always train. People always say, train for the worst. Hopefully, it doesn't happen. People always ask me, John, why do you carry a gun?
Right, I know, right? Why do you want to carry a gun everywhere?
Bad guys have guns. I gotta have a gun. But I always train. I still train, martial arts. I mean,
you do other things.
Yeah, I do other things too, just like you're doing. You're doing other things.
There's a lot of things that you can use for the purpose of defense. Martial arts. You could also have pepper spray or defense spray. You have knives. I mean, which knives are still a use of deadly force. But I want to say, when do you determine what level of force is necessary to stop a threat? This is something that is going to be completely different for anybody. I'll just use myself as an example. Again, I'm kind of smaller. I'm very short. When people meet me, they're always surprised at how short I am. But but I'm 4'11", and I weigh about between 110 to 115 pounds. If a guy John's size, and if you don't mind, how tall are you?
6'1".
6'1",
270.
270 pounds. If someone his size is already within arm's distance of me, I'm in trouble.
It's too late.
It's too late. And even though I can train all I want, and I might be confident in my martial arts abilities, I'm not so naive to think that someone John's size would be able to overpower me in probably minutes, probably less than that. And I'd put up a good fight, but by the time it gets to that point where now it's physical one-on-one, it's too late for me, so that's why I have other means of force, because I want to make sure that I have the same ability to stop that force as the force that's trying to hurt or harm me has.
And that's some of the stuff that we teach in our class is preemptive striking. Preemptive. If you tell somebody to back up and they step forward again, I am not going to wait. Just like she should not. You should not have to wait for that person to touch you or grab you until you can defend yourself.
Right.
And I think that's huge. I mean, people always say self-defense. I'm not going to defend myself. I'm actually going to strike and do whatever I need to do first before the other person can get off.
Well,
that's very important.
That brings up. That's
kids,
a good point. Yeah.
It's some people are too afraid to. They're going to wait till somebody hits them or grab them. Everybody has a chance to get hurt. If Amy just smacks me, she could probably knock me out. I lose. So
I don't think I can knock you out.
Could happen.
Anything's possible.
But yeah, I think the stuff that we teach is like stuff like that is don't wait for somebody to attack you. Stop it before it happens, or attack first.
Yeah.
And then explain to the officer later. I told him to stop. How many times did I tell him back up? I told him to back up once or twice.
Right.
We
had a lot of good feedback from the last class that we did, and we've actually talked about making it a regularly scheduled thing. So I know that initial group that we had advertised to has already reached out. Some of them who weren't able to make it to that first session. So if you're watching and you know the individuals that missed out on that last session in the local area here, let them know that we'll be sending an email out for the next date that's going going to happen. And we're looking at doing this on a pretty regular basis. We've had a lot of outside organizations contact us from hearing, the feedback from it. And really, I mean, not to, I'll just go ahead and say this, that John is a very qualified instructor. I myself, I consider myself, I've been doing this for so long, and the knowledge that we both possess and I think are able to convey, especially, in dealing with young women and children, I think it's priceless what the information and the training that's received. So it's something that we are planning on doing on a regular basis. So if you have any questions about that, make sure you send me a message or drop a comment in the comment box and let me know if you're looking for something like that, and I'll send you some info on what our schedule looks like and how we're planning on moving forward with that stuff. So anything to add to that? Or all right, well, we've got some comments coming in, so I did want to take a few minutes to address them. Julio Toe is asking, hello, how was your stay in Chicago? My stay in Chicago was great. It was not as long as I wish it was, so I'm actually planning on going back there for some work things that I'll be doing in that area. So if I missed you the last time, I definitely will be out there a lot longer this time. I've got a lot of commitments that I have to do while I'm up there, but I'm going to try to do it. Boone Cutler, see how I'm reading the comments. So it's cool. Boone Cutler says, great topic, keep it up. Thank you for tuning in, and your support is always greatly appreciated. Johnny Perales, you guys are awesome. You're awesome, but we appreciate you guys commenting, and your comments help me determine like what topics I'm going to talk about next, and I know that this one was very much requested. All right, Gary's saying, or Johnny Law is saying, knowledge weighs nothing. That's true, absolutely. Did you need something? Oh, you're just watching me. Okay. We're actually in John's gym right now, so some of his students and fellow coaches are in the background, they're training, and so I want to thank John for letting me kind of come into his space here. Usually I do this from home. All right, now let's see these other comments. Let's see, Gary's saying, thanks for your time, really appreciate it. Well, we appreciate you tuning in and hearing what we have to say, and if there's something that maybe you had a question about that we didn't get to, please ask, because I'm going through the comments now. So Mark Coe, he's local, he's from Bluffton, do you know him? He says yes, so hi Mark. All right. Philip Young is saying, I know him from somewhere. Yeah, Phil, you do. Phil used to work part-time at Palmetto State Arm. Or no, he was the assistant manager at Palmetto State Arm.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So that's how you know
Yeah,
John. He comes in all the time and shoots. So that's probably, he's one of the regular guys, yeah. Ethan Arguello says, my boy is turning 2 this month, and I'll be training him everything I learned as a Marine, weapons, MMA, and everything about our foundation. Y'all's wisdom is priceless. Cheers. Hi, Ethan. And yes, I absolutely agree with you. And I tell people a lot of the kind of the mindset that I come from is the the Marine Corps mentality of safety and martial arts and being prepared. And I think both John and I served 12 years, and I think that because of that, I think that helps with our prior knowledge and background. All right, let's see some questions here. Kevin, I know you're still trying to find out about Tennessee's open carry. That's something I'm going to talk about next week, is how to read through gun statutes and carry permit regulations, and I'm going to show you next week how to do all that stuff, so stay tuned for my live feed next week. Let's see, Brian Proctor, thanks again for doing live shows. Again, thank you for tuning in, because of course without you guys I wouldn't be doing this. Chris is saying that was great info about children and firearms. I think kids should learn firearm safety, especially if there's a firearm in the home. They should also learn how to handle one and where to buckle down in the home if shit hits the fan. I absolutely agree with that, and I think that not only having the child know about firearms in your own home, but you bring your kids to friends' houses all the time, and you don't know or that's something you should be asking the parents there, that if they do have firearms in the home, are they kept up properly, and do their kids know not to touch guns and they're not a toy as well? Is that something that...
Yeah, that's important both ways.
It goes both ways. Someone says, who is the bodyguard sitting by you? We make a good team. Jonathan says, make sure to put me on the email list for the next class, and he'll spread the word. Yeah, awesome. Well, I appreciate that, Jonathan. You were actually, the person who reached out to me last time to get that first class set up, so I appreciate that, and I think it went really well. I know Melissa was was in the class, and I hope that she had nothing but good words to say about it too. So, anyway, what else we got? Am I missing something? Tactics?
We were gonna. We're actually thinking about putting another class on. What's this self-defense, concealed carry self.
Oh yeah, we're doing a the one we did before was kind of focused toward parents and their children, and we reached out especially for the women, so mother and daughters, but we actually are going to be putting together a, what do we call it, self-defense, concealed carry tactics, you know, and this is geared for a person who's already a permit holder who carries, but just knowing you know, different techniques.
Yeah, knowing how to get to your weapon when you're actually being attacked.
Yeah, that's
a lot of people think, I've talked to a lot of people and they're like, well, I carry a gun. I'm like, well, I do too. But if you actually got really attacked in a situation, actually how to get to your gun, you know, and where to shoot from, you know, that's why we play off each other. You know, I do the, you know, she does the, you know, the drawing, the carry, you know, how to shoot from stuff. I work on the self-defense and to learn how to defend and be able to get to your weapon.
Right.
Because, you know, you see a lot of stuff on YouTube and stuff like that. But that's something we were thinking about putting together and doing.
Real life.
Real life stuff.
Real life stuff.
Yeah, because, you know, it always, Murphy's Law always comes into effect. You know, you can practice in front of the mirror all you want, but when you really do it.
Well, you know, as an example of that, one thing that I'll bring up, just as a woman, I know that from talking to other women, a lot of women carry in their purse.
Right.
You know, a couple women that do that too.
Right.
And, you know, you never think about, well, what if I'm walking in a parking lot and I've got the gun in my purse, however, where it's at, but I get attacked. Someone's able to grab me from behind or, you know, things like that. Am I going to be able to access the gun? You know, so what defense tactic can I do to get to my gun? So those are the things that we're going to be covering in that concealed carry defensive tactics class. And so we'll be putting up information about that, you know, as well. Yeah. All right, so we covered that. Firearms, tactics, self-defense, pepper spray. We didn't talk about pepper spray much, but it's just another tool that you can use. There's actually a correct way to use pepper spray. Did you know that? And what I mean by that, it's not, because when you buy a pepper spray canister, how often are you actually taking that canister and practicing with it?
That's true.
You're not. So do you even know the pressure needed to apply on the cap? There's actually a certain way. If you were to try to push pepper spray with your index finger, on certain brands of pepper spray, you don't have the strength to do it. And there's an actual way to employ it safely and also properly. So that's something that, you
always learn something.
Knowledge is power. But that's something that, you know, I do teach a pepper spray non-lethal use of force class, and I want to incorporate more of that into some of the other defense workshops that we do in the future. So that's something that we'll be doing. But anyway, I guess that wraps it up.
Yeah.
Do you have anything you want to add, or?
No, just thank you for having me. Thank you, Amy, for having me.
Yeah.
You know, if you guys have any questions, hit her up, and we're a pretty good team.
Yeah, we're in constant communication.
We work great together. If you guys have any questions about different stuff, you know.
And if you have questions about martial arts or, you know, Krav Maga or something like that, John's obviously well versed or he's well known in that community, and even if you're not local, I'm sure he knows someone that knows someone that, you know, he can point you in the right direction on where you can go get training. But John's we already did your bio, right?
Right.
John's a former pro fighter, and he's a very well-known martial arts instructor in the Bluffton, South Carolina area. So, all right. So just letting you guys know, I've got a pretty busy week this week, but I'll be posting a lot more as far as some events that I'll be at. On the 17th of September, I'm going to be out in San Diego, California for 511's grand opening of the retail store there. And then on September 24th, I'll be at Palmetto State Armory's grand opening of the new store in Charleston, South Carolina. So if you're on either coast and you know, you want to link up and have an opportunity to chat in person, let me know if you're in the area, if you'll be going to either of those events, and we'll definitely get together and talk firearms and all things gun related. Makes me happy. But all right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. I'm gonna let John have his
clean my gym.
Yeah, have his gym back so he can go home, and I'm gonna head back as well. I do want to just something funny here. I came in.
That's very bad.
Came in with a monster, and I should have known that I was going to get a ton of crap for it because I'm around a bunch of, fighters who don't use this. Okay, but anyway. All right, guys, have a good night, and we will catch you later. Bye.
Thanks, guys.